New questions about the wreck that changed the way we look at Atlanta highways.
In my 22 years of being in public safety, it's one of the most traumatic events that I personally saw.
And Georgia's governor takes us for a ride.
We can't do nothing. We've got to do something.
His new plan could get you through your daily commute much, much faster, but there's a catch. It'll cost you every single time. This and more tonight in an all-new edition of Moving On, brought to you by the Civic League. Public Broadcasting Atlanta, Georgia Public Broadcasting, and community improvement districts at the Perimeter and Cumberland, the Atlanta Regional Commission, and WSB-TV Channel 2. Each workday, 1.5 million cars choke the highways of Metro Atlanta. On this particular afternoon, one of them happens to be driven by Georgia's chief executive, Governor Sonny Perdue. And guess what? He's moving through traffic a lot faster than most of the motorists around him. In fact, you'd hardly know it's rush hour.
Time is money in so many ways in congestion.
There's a reason Perdue's making good time behind the wheel, and it doesn't involve any kind of special treatment or the fact he happens to be governor. It's simply this. He's driving in the HOV lane. That stands for high occupancy vehicles, designed to promote carpooling and reduce traffic.
It's a congestion relief idea that makes good sense. So we're going to get an opportunity to see the HOV lane work up here in the downtown connector. Now, I use this lane going home most every evening, and you can tell a difference as we get up here between the right-hand lane and this the HOV lane. What you see right here in front of us, with the right lanes congested and the left lane moving in the HOV, is what we hope to get on all of those lanes on 85 outside of 285.
Governor Perdue was gracious enough to let us ride along. You'll be hearing a lot more from him, including his thoughts about how to relieve traffic congestion.
Hello, I'm Sally Sears. The next half hour could change your mind about the biggest threat to the quality of our lives in North Georgia. We begin with a terrible traffic accident, one that forced us all to concentrate on high-occupancy vehicle lanes, and it happened right here.
It was just before daybreak, March 2nd of this year. A charter bus sped across this highway overpass, slammed through the guardrail, and crashed down onto Interstate 75. The bus was carrying baseball players from Bluffton University in Ohio, on their way to what would have been the first tournament game of spring break in Florida.
I woke up as soon as the bus hit the overpass's wall, and that's when I looked up, and the bus landed on the left side, which is the side I was sitting on, and I just looked out and saw the road coming up after me, and it's just, that's all.
The bus had been traveling in the HOV lane on the left side of the interstate, and apparently by accident took the exit ramp at Northside Drive. Eyewitnesses said driver Jerry Niemeyer, perhaps believing he was on a through HOV lane rather than an exit, never even hit the brakes. Niemeyer was killed, along with his wife and 5 members of the team. The wreck drew horrified attention nationwide and put the spotlight on highway safety. Some even said HOV lanes are not safe, are not working, are not worth the trouble, and need to go. But there's another part of this story you may not have heard. Experts tell us HOV lanes not only reduce congestion, they are significantly safer than other lanes of traffic when they're designed and managed properly. But whether, in fact, they have been designed and managed properly is a matter of debate. Experts soon focused on the adequacy of HOV design and signage. Could this have been a case of something more than a driver unfamiliar with Atlanta?
I'm not sure what the situation was that evening, but I was troubled by it, and I came by several times afterwards and actually negotiated that in day and night to make sure that it was something that somebody who was driving and really concentrating could see.
That's not just Governor Perdue's opinion. It's what the State Department of Transportation has been saying all along. The DOT blames driver error for the crash. No ifs, ands, or buts.
I can understand how it happens. I can understand how things happen when I get off on the wrong road, but it usually doesn't happen if I'm paying really good attention.
State Trooper Larry Schnall was on the scene the morning of the accident.
In my 22 years of being in public safety, it's one of the most traumatic events that I personally saw.
If anything, the tragedy has made Schnall more determined than ever to enforce the law when it comes to HOV lanes.
The emotions are still fresh, but the memorials are starting to fade, and traffic experts remind us not to let this make us demonize HOV lanes.
From a public safety and traffic management standpoint, we feel that it is a good idea. Anytime you can speed up traffic as far as bottleneck, rush hour type of traffic, we feel it's a good idea.
Schnall and other troopers routinely catch people driving alone in HOV lanes. Lots and lots of people.
Well, it's become somewhat of a game. Oftentimes we see a person pointing to the right or pointing down. We stop them and there's a baby in the car. That has spread throughout the motoring public. We see people motion to the right. Oftentimes we stop them, we get up there and there's an empty car seat. So basically they're trying to elude us by a deceptive practice. Hey, how are you?
I'm good.
Good, you're in the wrong lane. You have to have more than one person to be in the commuter lane. It's the HOV lane. Let me go ahead and get your license.
Schnall sets up shop at the HOV-only entrance ramp to I-75. Right by the site of the March bus wreck on Northside Drive.
Yeah, it's an HOV lane. You've got to have more than one person. It's a carpool lane, and they've got the signs adequately posted out here, so we're trying to encourage the public and make them aware of the HOV lane, okay?
It is, he says, like shooting fish in a barrel. The lane is clearly marked for HOV traffic only. While we were watching, about 1 in 3 cars coming down the ramp contained only one person, the driver.
So you're simply saying you didn't see the sign?
Well, no, I just transferred here from out of state.
Okay.
So.
There are excuses we hear on a regular basis. So when we stop someone and they say, I wasn't aware of it, I didn't see the sign, well, you're expected to look at the signs just as you would a stop sign, a red light, or a speed limit sign.
This van, however, contained 15 people, all properly seated, and that's the way it's supposed to work.
Hey guys, how you doing? Making sure everyone's buckled up, and we got a carpool. Y'all carpool regularly?
Yes, sir.
Okay, very good. All right, we appreciate you. HOV lane, you're good. We do feel it works. It's basically a reward for those people who are carpooling, whether it's 2 or 3 people, or as you've seen in some of our stand-up today, vans with 15 people on there. That's 15 less vehicles going to and from Atlanta in the metro area.
Tell me what happened.
Today I decided to come down the HOV lane, which I wasn't really aware of, and I got stopped.
Because it was just you in the car.
Because it was just me in the car.
Oops. What do you say?
Rats. Pay close attention to the signs, people of Atlanta, please.
Drivers like these could soon be able to drive down the ramp without being stopped. Under a plan backed by Governor Perdue, you will be allowed to use the HOV lane even if you're alone in your car, but it's going to cost you every single time you do it.
Sally, when people talk in a negative way, having to pay to ride in a lane, I said, well, think about the plumber that's out here billing there, and he has an appointment to get to a client's, customer's home, and he's stuck in that traffic going and coming, and he's billing $50 or $75 an hour, and he's got a guaranteed lane over there that he can get there in a certain period of time. That's his choice. If the public rejects it, then that's the best way to find out, is to put something out there where they can try. I believe they're going to like it.
So he's about to give more Georgians a taste of life in the fast lane.
We can't do nothing. We've got to do something.
The governor's comments echo those we heard in March at a town hall meeting sponsored by the Civic League. The state's top transportation experts gave us sobering news. Atlanta's traffic is never going to get better, no matter how much new pavement we lay.
Congestion is going to be worse even if we build it all, but we don't have the money to build it all anyway, so it's really going to be worse.
It is a crisis from any angle that you look at it.
There is no solution as such, but there are a lot of ideas about things we can try to ease the pain. And one of the most dynamic proposals is being pushed by Rosa Roundtree, the Deputy Executive Director of Georgia's Tollway Authority.
We want multiple people in cars, and that'll solve a lot of our problems, but we recognize as customers, sometimes we don't want to share our cars. We want to be single occupancy in that car. In that case, we're starting to talk about HOT. It's high occupancy tolling, giving you a choice to pay to use that HOV lane.
This could be rush hour in Gwinnett County. It's life in the fast lane, Orange County, California. For 10 years now, 10 miles of commuters get relief from the congestion by either putting 3 or more people in a car or paying to zip past the single drivers on the right. The result you can see: little congestion, reliable commute times, and traffic planners everywhere eager to shake up their own HOV lanes.
Giving drivers a choice in transportation solutions.
We caught up to Rosa Roundtree at the toll booth on Georgia Highway 400.
We're talking managed lanes, we're talking tolling. The only thing that Georgia's familiar with is the Georgia 400. So I think as we get them more exposed, we educate them.
But will Georgia drivers be able to figure it out?
Of course, Georgians are able to figure this out. This is simple. We'll use dynamic message signs. We'll give them the information before they even decide to get in that lane. You make a choice. Do I pay to get in that lane at that fee, or do I ride in general purpose lane at the time delay it's going to take me to get to my destination?
Roundtree says proof we need to change is visible every afternoon.
The HOV lanes during our peak hour times, the time we need it the most, doesn't work. We're going to change the eligibility from HOV 2 to HOV 3. One car with 3 passengers.
Sonny Perdue barely hits a snag on his commute, but he's only going as far as the governor's mansion, well inside the perimeter.
Of course, there are a lot of people living in Gwinnett and on up 985 area. Hall County's growing, and certainly the Athens area, and that's where a lot of the growth is, but that's where a lot of the congestion is.
How much is it going to cost at rush hour to get in that fast lane?
The average traveler is $2.75. Your choice. Do you pay $2.75 to get to your destination in a faster, efficient time frame, or do you afford to sit in that lane for an hour plus, losing your quality of life?
The lanes will not be separated by a partition like those in California. Georgia's new HOV lanes will rely on high-tech electronics and cameras.
What are you going to do about cheaters?
Well, we don't want you to get caught. We would think all our drivers are going to have the opportunity to pay in 72 hours. If you don't pay in 72 hours, we have your license plate, and then we can go out and enforce it.
The other good thing is there are no toll booths. They're not going to stop. This is a high-tech program, again, from transponder, electronic, really high technology gantries and you don't have to commit all at one time. You can get in and out. So it's a portion of these lanes. It's not for the whole period of time. It's as where the congestion is, you can make the determination to get in or you can get out.
One of the biggest backers is Bob Dallas, director of the Governor's Office of Highway Safety.
This is a great program for Georgia.
He says we'll all be safer if we use the HOV lanes better.
Behaving better on the roadway, driving the speed limit, not crossing multiple lanes, not following too closely, wearing your safety belt, and all that combined, I think will probably produce a safer road. Lane separation is an important issue because in this proposal, it's electronic, which basically says that if there's an incident in these managed lanes, all of the law enforcement, the safety personnel can get to the incident, deal with the injuries that may have occurred, and move the incident off the road quickly. When we have concrete barriers, then you raise lots of questions as to being able to get to the incident quickly, and then secondly, to move the wreckage out quickly so that we can get back to a good flow of the system.
And the numbers crunching scientist in Bob Dallas is thrilled this will be a real-time experiment.
What it's going to do is give us a whole lot of data that allows us to analyze it. What they're going to probably find in the long run is that not only is it useful if you have to be there, like I got to pick up my kid from school and if I'm a minute late I'm going to pay $15, but what they're going to find is their lanes will flow better. Everybody benefits from this type of program.
You know, I think this will work. Many different regular working people will choose to do that based on their own personal sense of urgency at that time. And then you still have the public free options that are there.
Even the lone drivers caught using HOV lanes think this idea will probably improve things.
What do you think about the HOV lanes in general?
I think it's good because they have a lot of traffic here in Atlanta. So I think they need more HOV lanes, if you ask me.
Yeah? Yeah. How about that ticket? What you going to do with it?
Oh my God. I hate to pay it, but I'm going to have to.
I'm real excited about it. I think it's something that is the future of transportation, not only in the Atlanta region, but in other regions of the country.
Steve Stansel heads GRETA, the Georgia Regional Transportation Authority, and he's another big supporter of Governor Perdue's plan.
People won't use it every day, but if they've got a child that's got a Little League All-Star game that afternoon, or they need to pick them up at daycare because they're charging them $5 a minute for every minute they're late, you know, they'll pay the fee for that extra reliability and being able to get there.
There's another reason why Steve Stansel likes this proposal. It could get more people out of regular traffic and into the HOV lane on buses, like this one driven by Lincoln Charles.
So what do you wish we'd see with our HOV lanes here?
I really wish they would have barriers on both sides.
Barriers, concrete barriers.
A veteran driver, Charles is not sure electronic safeguards will be enough for the new HOV lanes.
You never know when someone is going to jump the solid white lines right in front of the bus. They say it takes 1,000 nuts and bolts to make a vehicle. It takes one nut to destroy it.
Lincoln Charles sees one nut after another jumping the double white lines. Except for that, he says, he makes great time.
How much time does it save you when it's working?
You can take off an easy 10 minutes on your trip when it's working, yes.
Commuters ride blissfully in the air conditioning. IRS worker Shirley Montgomery is a pioneer on the Gwinnett County-bound coach.
When it first started up, they didn't have enough buses, and we had to stand. We'd have sometimes 15 people standing.
Passing Jimmy Carter, Gwinnett Place, 316. By now, 3 years of this commute means that Shirley has crocheted enough gifts to cover all of her grandchildren and many of her friends. That's a real savings of time. And here's another one.
We move a lot faster in the HOV lane.
Right on time, 40 minutes from the Civic Center downtown to Discover Mills, way up in Gwinnett.
Commuter coaches depend on convenient parking spaces in the suburbs to collect their customers. This one at a skate park in Discover Mills is a perfect example. People can get off the bus and go home or go play.
Plenty of you may be skeptical. Are we too dependent on our own cars, too independent to ride with someone else? The success of GRETA might change your mind.
That's been a great story, probably a kind of an undertold story, Sally, of what our great ridership has been on our GRETA Express bus service.
We're getting the job done.
Stansel's a former lawmaker from the suburbs. He knows what it's like trying to get around Atlanta, and is doing his best to get a lot of us out of our cars.
How fast are y'all growing?
Well, we're the fastest growing in the nation right now. We're carrying about 5,000 passengers a day, so we're growing pretty rapidly.
From 3 years ago to 5,000 cars a day off the road.
We started at 0 to 5,000 in 3 years.
Wow. How are you getting Georgians to get out of their single occupancy car and carpool on a coach?
Well, we're making it convenient, we're making it comfortable, and it's clean, and they're safe, and people are enjoying the ride.
We hope as people maybe in more congested parts see those commuters go by in that bus, we can get more and more people in really high occupancy vehicles, not just 3 in a car, but, you know, 40 or 50 on a bus.
GRETA is not the only agency with a success story when it comes to Atlanta's traffic. Galleria Gardens, a forget-your-worries kind of place where office towers at I-75 and 285 surround an oasis of beauty. The gardens make happier, more productive employees, and of course, that includes the landlord, too.
Easy to get in and out of. People often say after they move in here, we never knew.
Connie Engel is a partner in Childress Klein, the owner of the office towers here. Connie's also on the board of the Cumberland Community Improvement District, the CID. It's a self-taxing group of business neighbors that improves access and keeps the land values strong. The CID runs the van pools called the Commuter Club.
And the Commuter Club is awesome. I mean, you can't beat it. And that's something that we talk about with every single prospect. They're shocked when they hear that there are 19 van pools coming from different areas of the city every day to the Galleria. I mean, it's just really a neat option for them.
Steve West drives 10 people from Fayetteville to Cumberland every day.
Look around the next time you see one of these white vans, then count 10 cars in the lanes of traffic. That's what we've taken off the road every day.
On time. every day.
How about that HOV lane? What good does it do?
Awesome. Smooth ride all the way through. It gets us there. Actually, we're getting home 10, 15 minutes earlier than what we would driving in our cars.
Community improvement districts don't limit themselves to van pools and transit. Tad Leithhead oversees the Cumberland CID. He explains how the idea gathers the business neighbors into tax-paying partnerships.
To form a CID, you have to have a 75% supermajority from the voters in the area, and we actually had unanimous support, above 75% support.
You did not have to bully anybody into joining?
Very few. What's more interesting is that our voters have to reinstitute the CID every 6 years, and they've done that 3 times, unanimously every time.
Tad Leithhead says there's no doubt access keeps business from leaving Atlanta.
We think that the road systems that we've built have tripled the vehicular access to this area. And if you look at Atlanta's growth, when traffic has gotten bad, then a new market has sprung up to the north. What we've been able to do is by increasing access, we've been able to preserve that growth here. And so, yeah, I think there would be a lot more growth to the north had the CID not been formed and made the investments that it's made.
Yvonne Williams, who heads the Perimeter CID, agrees. And the evidence of her commitment is a $32 million answer to this old riddle. Why did the chicken cross the road? A road that happens to be the site of the very worst traffic in Atlanta. Well, until now, the chicken didn't cross the road. Nobody did. Nobody could. And who cares about chickens crossing the road anyway? Well, Wayne Lord, for one. Wayne Lord helps to manage chickens.
We're talking the largest chicken company in the United States. We have over 10,000 employees in the state of Georgia.
He's a leader of Gold Kist, now part of Pilgrim's Pride. The regional headquarters are at Perimeter and Georgia 400. MARTA has 3 nearby stations, and they matter to Wayne Lord. So do headlines like this one, promising even more growth.
Was it ever hard for you to get employees to work here, given the traffic on 285?
Well, the traffic is always an issue. Nobody likes that.
The Perimeter Community Improvement Districts are changing the upper loop in a dramatic way. If you hate the top-end perimeter, you may love what this bridge is likely to do.
We think of the top-end perimeter as always being jammed, but a lot of these people aren't going very far, are they?
Well, look at it now. A bridge is almost complete with huge connections from a south to a north end in Georgia's corporate center.
That's pretty exciting.
It is exciting.
It doesn't even connect to the perimeter. It just flies over it.
Well, it's really going to help me since my home is very close to here, just inside the perimeter, so I'm very happy to be able to turn left out of the parking lot instead of right and avoid Hammond and Ashford Dunwoody and all of that and get almost to my home.
Say you work at St. Joseph Hospital inside the perimeter and you need to get home to Dunwoody outside. You'd almost have to get on 285 for an exit or two. And that local jamming back and forth is part of the reason the top end is so bad both directions all day long. But not for much longer.
The state has so many other projects. How did you get the state's attention to move this up the list to being done so quickly?
We engaged great partners, DeKalb County government, the Department of Transportation, Harold Linenthal, and the governor himself. He said this is a fast-forward priority. It's a corporate center for Georgia. We have now over 12 new developments of jobs and live-work-play facilities coming into Perimeter. And all of it is because we are working diligently to provide that transportation access. It makes the market more attractive.
Why would you stay at Perimeter instead of going out to where the chickens are?
Our people like all the facilities that are near here and everything about it, so we thought that to stay here made sense.
What is your advice to other congested parts of town who don't have a CID?
Pick a project that you can really rally focus behind, engage the partnership, and maintain momentum. Enthusiastic momentum to keep the project on the forefront of the ability of people that can make a decision.
Does it really take money?
It doesn't take money. It's a lot about leadership, and I'm very blessed with a corporate leadership who helped me make the business case as to why projects like this can be built.
One of my big things since I've been here is that we need to work together as a team. We can't afford the turf guarding and the fussing among ourselves.
Atlanta continues to grow. According to the newest report, 4 million people live in the 10 core counties, a milestone with serious implications for our quality of life. Despite the overwhelming traffic challenges facing Atlanta, there's hope.
Yeah, it's a good clean air day today, I think.
Kevin Green heads the Clean Air campaign, and Karen Webster is executive director of the Civic League.
I'm Part of it's just making employers and commuters aware of the choices that they've got. They don't have to be stuck in traffic.
That sounds wonderful, because for a long time citizens felt they didn't have any choices. There's so many citizens in this region now that don't understand that they have a voice, and we're here to make sure that they have a voice.
How do you get all those people around the table?
We have public policy forums, we have transportation forums, we have networking sessions, doing everything we can to make sure that citizens are informed of these public policy issues.
We're trying to do something. We're not satisfied with the status quo, and we can't build our way out of it fast enough. When I look at the building, you're talking about 10 or 15 years out, and we know that. We can't wait that long.
The race is on. It's not just a question of how many will use the roads. It's a question of how we will use the roads.
And one last point, we are all in this together. I'm Sally Sears. Thanks for joining us.
Moving on. Brought to you by the Civic League, Public Broadcasting Atlanta, Georgia Public Broadcasting, and Community Improvement Districts at the Perimeter and Cumberland, the Atlanta Regional Commission, and WSB-TV Channel 2.